Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Anaiis, and this is a very special summer solstice divine union, sacred union reading for the collective. And I'm doing this reading on the 22nd of June. We've had a wonderful, wonderful energy shift overnight. And I want to share what came through for me in this meditation about the change in the energies when I woke up very, very early this morning. There's a story to tell here, and I would love to have those of you leave a comment who resonate with what I'm about to share. And it's metaphysical, and it's out there, and it's going to be a very 5D reading. So if that's not of interest to you, if you are looking for predictions or forecasts about love or money, this is not going to help you very much. My readings don't focus on those conversations. What came to me this morning was that the divine feminine has really come into her own in union with Source, and those who are awakened 5D and above have come in to a new full circle of ability to work with what we call reality, to become true conscious co-creators of reality, able to sustain, maintain, engage, and gently love and transition conscious, complex relationships that impact our world at the structural level. So for those of you who are aware that that is how you are operating as a divine feminine in your mission here at this time in the ascension process, I just wanted to share with you that we really have a tremendous cause to celebrate today. So I don't have a formal spread for this reading. I may never do it again, but the impulse was there, the information was there, the process was there for me this morning, and I journaled it. I made a mental note of it, and then it was like get up and make a video and use the information that people are familiar with in terms of translating energy through visual cards. So let's begin. I'm going to begin with the Empress. Hopefully there's not too much glare on this card. Those of us who've been working our side of the union and coming into our wholeness as divine sacred feminines have taken on the demeanor of a conscious co-creator, feminine Empress. And one of the reasons that we are able to do this is because we have found the way. We have found the means. We have stumbled upon how to reclaim our starfire. Now, I have retreats and individual processes that I engage women in to reclaim their starfire, but I stumbled upon it myself. I was led to it, and so I'm going to trust that other women will find a way of being led to this. So here we have the Empress, And here we have her now reunited with her star fire. So the Empress in her star fire, once it is reclaimed, we're going to put that there over the Divine Feminine as an acknowledgement of her having reclaimed her star fire. The Empress has a foundation of unconditional love. She has rebuilt this foundation of unconditional love from Source in her wholeness within herself. And this is how she has come into her Empress status. She has done tremendous healing work to unearth herself from the dark tomb in which the Divine Feminine has been mostly either buried or imprisoned for eons. We've done this work. We've done it as a collective. I know I've certainly done this as an individual. So the Empress Foundation now is unconditional love. And what has happened, here we have the 3 and the 6, what has happened is in the work that we've done as the Divine Feminine Collective, we have, with our foundation and our connection to Source and our conscious choice to be whole, to be love, to be in co-creation with Source, and to come out completely out of separation. We are empowered now, at least I know that I am, we are empowered now to work with all of the elements. So we are empowered to work with the earth elements. We are empowered to work with the air elementals. We are empowered to work with the water elementals. And we are empowered to work with the elemental of fire. Now, depending where you are in your process, you may still be working towards coming into divine union with your relationship with this co-creative elementals. So that you will need to sort out for yourself. But I have had these 3 elementals working with me in conscious co-creation for the last year. And then, as I was contemplating where I still needed to find and explore and come into more wholeness and love, I became aware that I was sitting on my starfire, and that, I'm sorry for the glare, but light's a little low here in the morning. I was sitting on the starfire energy, and in fact, I did have this elemental to work with now. So what happens when we can work with all 4 of Gaia's elementals? These are the essential building blocks of all of creation in our 3D reality and beyond in realities where we're dealing with manifestation of physical form, and when we're in realities that express, where Source expresses and the planet decides to express as air, water, earth, and fire. In any combination. Now we have a very unique combination here on Earth, a very precious and unique combination that has nurtured and supported millions of biological diverse life forms. And so we are being engaged now and invited to take on active stewardship, loving stewardship of the codes and DNA information of these life forms, and embed them in our own living structures. So this is where we are today. This is the shift for the Divine Feminine. She now is actively able to consciously work with the elementals, and that's at a first dimensional level. It includes atoms, molecules, scalar wave structures. So this is a beautiful, beautiful shift. Now I'd like to share with you, if you really haven't been aware of where we've been and the struggle that we've been in to come out of separation. Some people frame this dynamic as a spiritual war. I would agree. I've been active in it for a long, long time as a warrior, as a healer, as a teacher, and as a mentor. And I've seen people with tremendous battle scars having worked through such unbelievably painful and powerful dynamics, being caught in the spiritual warfare without having any sense at all of what was going on around them or inside of them. And in an upcoming webinar on the Patreon page where we're talking about Sacred Union, I do have permission from some people to share the journey that they've been on with me in coming out of that very deep and painful and frightening form of separation, as they've been aware that they've been caught in the middle of the spiritual warfare drama that's been unfolding as the astral dimension has been dismantled and taken apart. So we're going to go, I'm going to use some of the more traditional tarot cards to make my point here. But where we have been in separation, we have been having to work out our shadow, that is ego, that is the false light, that has embedded and interwoven itself into divine creation and into all of the divine blueprints and templates. And so we can just simply use the name the devil. That is not the name that I would use for this particular energy, but most people know it as the devil, so that's okay. So here we have the devil, that is the prime mover of the dynamic of separation, because separation is the environment in which this being lives, and separation are the energy dynamics by which this being feeds and sustains itself. The loose change, the energy that comes off, the emotional energy, the mental energy, the confusion, the pain, the suffering, that are the byproducts of the system of separation that has been set up by this particular, let's call it an archetype. Let's call it an archetype, let's call it a fallen angel, the head of the fallen angels, however you want to frame it in your personal school of thought. So this leader, this creator of separation, has companions. And sometimes they're referred to as princes and principalities and powers. And so we can just recognize what they are. We have the devil. We have the heartbreak. The continual system of separation causes heartbreak, and this is what it is fed on. This is how the devil's system continues to be nurtured and fed and supported, and this has come to an end. This has come to an end. Now that the divine feminine has a co-creative relationship with all of the elements, and we must each make sure we endeavor to come into a conscious, loving, co-creative relationship with all of the elements. And now that that template has been opened up, it will be easy for you to find that within yourself. Okay, so this is part of the dynamic that we now have power to literally remove their molecules and their atoms. This is another one of the energies. In this deck, which is by Kim Kranz, this is the Father of Wands. So this is fire energy, but it's also speedy, powerful, sexual energy. And this definitely represents the Kundalini energy that so many people are after, that so many people are trying to access and raise up with their practices of Tantra, without understanding necessarily, or only simply following what the ancient books tell them about the nature of that power. Okay, but let me tell you that this is used to continue to create separation and illusion, and to continue to support and maintain the misuse of sacred sensuality. Now we have a minion here. A minion. This is just for me, a pretty interesting picture of one of the astral creatures that many of us have been we've had to deal with in our when we leave our bodies at night, and we've had to travel through the astral realm to get back to home base and 0 point energy, so we could have any form of biological regeneration in any kind of rest we could get during our sleep state. So we have this energy. We have this energy in the Kim Krantz deck. This is called the Mother of Wands. And so here we're looking at how the divine masculine and the divine feminine in shadow have been colluding together, and unconsciously their power has been taken from them, or they have chosen power over love. And they've lived lives over many lifetimes, over eons, where they have continued to choose, feeling that what satisfied them more than love was power. So this is a distorted masculine and a distorted feminine. And then we have our friends, the spiders, and in my experience, these are known by another name as the archons. And they use our unconscious creative material and our unprocessed needs, wants, and desires to continue to spin illusion, misperception, and distortion that have absolutely been embedded in the 3D construct and have been maintained and processed in the astral. So every nightmare you've ever had has the mark of the archons on it, because they are the spinners. Every story you watch on the news that is pushing you into misperception about reality has the print of the archons on it. They began the spin of information that became part of the mass media movement in what we think of as modern culture. So, once again, we need to know what we've been working and clearing and healing and removing from our source, sacred, divine template of wholeness. All right. So now the Queen of Air has to do with truth, transparency, and trust. And this is the kind of transmission that will come on the air when we share thoughts that are embedded with the intention of truth, transparency, and trust. So those of us who know, and who know who we are now in active co-creative relationship with this element, and we are broadcasting. And we are broadcasting instead of spell casting. And we are broadcasting truth, transparency, and trust that is aligned with source creation. Next, we have the Queen of Water. And the Queen of Water has to do with, again, sharing information and energy that we translate as emotion and feeling and intuition. And so the Queen of Water now She is part of the mastery, the mystery, the wonder of our healing work, and we are now in conscious co-creation relationships with water. I know that I am. We have Queen of Earth, and this is the beautiful relationship that we have with the beautiful minerals and crystals and all of the deep, deep resources in the planet, on this planet Earth, that are part of sustaining all life and biodiversity. This includes what we consider to be crude oil is actually part of the communication system of the body of the planet. So when we're digging up oil, we're draining her lifeblood. When we're polluting water and diverting water and being unconscious about our use of water and sucking up aquifers to put into plastic bottles, please, 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 please do not buy water in a plastic bottle unless all the water that in your community has become unfit to drink. I could do a whole video on this, but other people have done it. When we take on stewardship and we have a relationship with sacred water, we have to protect the sacred water. This is the lymphatic system. All the emotional energy on this planet, 70% of this planet is water. This planet runs on emotions. Emotions dictate the weather when they're not, the weather patterns have not been hijacked by technology. So once you become a queen of water in your own life, you will find that the environment in which you live, the weather environment, will become cooperative with you and your intentionality. And we can become stewards of our local communities in terms of whether or not we're hit by a weather event. Please understand this. This is incredibly important information that I'm sharing with you today. And we have fire. The Empress is also a queen of fire, and she has a relationship, a conscious relationship with the energy of passion and desire and sacred sexuality. And this is the place in which her star fire lives. And her star fire is the energy that the patriarchy has imprisoned her over these eons and kept her in a state of submission and terror and abuse and violence in order to capture her star fire through sexuality. This is important information. When you move into this level of conscious awareness as an empress, you no longer give your star fire away to anyone except Source or Gaia if she needs it. You do not give your star fire away to a man. I'm going to have a pregnant pause here because I think some of us need to take this information in and consider it in terms of the twin flame conversation and the whole dynamic of coming into physical union. You do not come into physical union so that you give your star fire away to your masculine. You come into union so that you can lead your divine masculine in the co-creative process that requires your star fire. Now there's more here. We recently had an event in the United States that demonstrates that this has happened, and that this has happened in ways in which the patriarchy is transforming and making new decisions that reflect a connection to Gaia, a connection to life, and a connection to Source. It may seem like a minor event, but it was actually, in terms of looking at future timelines, it was a major turning point. And this happened yesterday on the solstice. And it's a political event. We had, in the United States, had an unarmed drone aircraft shot down by the Iranian government. And then there was a countermanding issue to attack Iran in some form. And because of the work that we have done, Divine Feminines, there was a moment where, for one moment, our current president had a rational, integrated moment comprehending the use or misuse of his power. And he called off a revenge strike on Iran. And this is because of the work that we have done, Divine Feminines, in awakening the Divine Masculine. So it may not have seemed like all that of an important event, but it was a turning point. Because this group, this sad sack group, this sad, pathetic group, are longing for a world war. They are starving to death. They live on blood and sacrifice and heartbreak. And so their time is up. And we are now working with the elements of conscious co-creation, which means that as a collective, we now have all of the power that we need to move forward. Absolutely never again giving consent to global war. Now, this trickling down to the local level, to the patriarchal structures that are still in place, and the local warlords and the chieftains and the banksters and those who are corrupt, Source will take care of those people. Source decides, Gaia divides. So we don't have to worry about that anymore. We just need to notice the signs of where we are. So we're moving forward now as the Empress with a completely solid foundation of love. And I am so grateful for being on this journey, for being here at this time. And I will share that this element of fire, of passion, of being aligned with my own sacred sexuality and sensuality, this has been the element that I have least trusted in myself until recently. This past year or two, I've understood what I need to do with that energy and how I need to do it, and it has nothing to do with Tantra. My Kundalini, that energy in me is awake and aware, and it travels straight up through my 12-dimensional chakra system and energy field, and it doesn't have anything to do with raising a snake. Okay, so I wanted to share this with you because this has been quite the journey. We've worked so hard, and I was guided to do this today because yesterday there were all kinds of celebrations and ceremonies and manifestation spectacles and magic shows and whatever. Those arcane arts were practiced yesterday. But I want to make sure you understand where we are today. Today's the 22nd. It's a master number. If you're an Empress and you have come into this level of discernment and love, you now have the Ace of Fire at your disposal. If you are a Divine Feminine who has come into her awareness about her relationship with the elemental air, you have this power of being able to call the air and requesting the air and having conversations with the elementals of the air. For instance, you might use this to clear the skies of chemtrails in your local community. Okay. And we have now the Ace of Water. And this beautiful, beautiful opportunity to understand and work with water, you will discover your own pathway for how you're going to work with the elemental of water. But you now, as Empress, are Queen of Water. And so you have the ability to be in relationship with the water elemental. So think about that perhaps in terms of the radiation pollution in the Pacific Ocean. I'm happy to work with any divine feminine who would like to join me in these cleanup projects. I've been doing them for a couple of years, testing them out, and we've gotten results. Now, I'm not a thought leader, I'm not a Bruce Lipton, I'm not a Nassim Harman, although I have their knowledge about how the universe works. So if you're interested in doing this in a way that's cozy and relaxed and loose and purely based in feminine energy and love, let me know and we'll work together. And if you are in a deep and loving mother-daughter, sister relationship with Gaia in her form as planet Earth, then you also have the energy of the Ace of Earth to work with. And if this is your strong suit, then it's going to be a tremendously fantastic journey for you to come into awareness about how you are working with the Earth herself. And this is a joyful journey, and each of us gets to discover this for ourselves. I can't tell you what that's going to be for you, but I have discovered what it is for me. And again, I work with a collective of other conscious co-creators. We're part of a soul group. We found each other. And it is through finding each other and supporting each other in our journeys, in our sacred union journeys, that we have been able to come into this kind of dynamic. All right, so in terms of the kinds of images you would recognize from the traditional tarot, once we are in this sacred union dynamic and we have come into our wholeness as divine feminine conscious co-creators, we have access to the chariot. We can consciously choose when we need to use this energy and how to use it in alignment with Source from a foundation of love. We have the ability to turn fortune's wheel, and when we do this, we do not do this solely for our own benefit. We do it in alignment with Source and with Gaia, and it's a conscious co-creative process. And I teach the science of co-creation, not manifestation. So if you're interested in that, you can check out my Patreon page. Oh, I don't know, search that on my website. I can put that below this video on how to find that information. There is a science to co-creation, and it is absolutely different from the magic of manifestation. You might want to know the difference. You might want to choose to practice conscious co-creation. We have access to the world. We now, when we move into the Empress energy, we are able to move in and out of the human and biologically diverse templates in the morphogenetic field. And so if you're a healer, you might want to consider how this might align with whatever healing methods you're using, and whether or not you actually have moved into all of this without the use of symbols that you, in your healing work, are inserting symbols into someone else's energy field when you don't know what those symbols mean or do, and neither does the person who is receiving that from you. Or you're working with a healing system that doesn't require any personal work on your part to become a master. We also have the energy of justice, and this is the justice that is source justice. And all we have to do is stay connected to source. We do not have to mete out the justice. We don't. We just simply need to be where we're meant to be, when we're meant to be there. And if there is any justice that needs to arise in the situation, that will naturally unfold. And a lot of the time, this justice energy includes awakening another person or another part of ourselves to where our intentionality is in distortion, where we have chosen power over love. Oh, that's an 11 card, so that makes a lot of sense to me, because this is really an important part of our sacred union journey. That we are always in source intention, and we know that it is source's job to choose when, how, and why justice operates. It's not up to us. And we have the energy of the sun. We have the cleansing power of light and the true sun. The sun that is at the core of creation, and that is the sun of source. And we have our beautiful ability to teach and share and know and communicate our wisdom in many, many different ways, using many, many different modalities. So we have the wisdom of the Hierophant to bring into our arrangement of how we relate to the elementals: air, water, earth, fire. And we have the Fool, which means we remain lighthearted and joyful, and we hear the call every time it's made, and we respond to it with an open and loving heart, fearlessly. And we also have the wisdom of the Hermit to know when we need to go in and take time to rest and reflect and integrate all that we are involved in this complex weaving that we're now doing with life itself. It's so much fun. And we have the strength. We have the strength. It is our strength that has brought us through on this journey and brought us through to this day of this incredible shift in the energy. And so we do what we need to do, and the elementals will help us with our strength. They will come forward and make sure that we understand what we need to do at the mind, body, and soul level to be strong, and to be strong in a gentle and loving way. And God knows the Divine Feminine is completely aware of the role that patience plays in her ability to use all of the resources available to her as a loving and conscious co-creator with wisdom and grace. And this requires patience, because we all know working with people who are just waking up, or working or being around people who are not yet awake, requires patience. And then we have the energy of the High Priestess. We work with the High Priestess. We are completely aligned with our own direct experience, intuition, and inner knowing. And we have learned through discernment and through compare and contrast to trust the information that comes to us. And every day we reaffirm our alignment with Source, because I will tell you that this knucklehead still thinks that it's going to play games. And it can play games if we're not diligent and we're not open to seeing when we might be an illusion or self-deception, or playing all the crazy trickster games that this thing has put together here. So it's important that we always remember to check in on our discernment, our boundaries. We use compare and contrast, And we always allow our bodies to be the ringing bells and the resonance of what's true. Your body knows what's true. And your high priestess, the intuition, is deeply connected to your neurology and biology, so you can know what's true. This is such a blessing. And we have the energy of the magician, because the energy that has been the magician, the use of magic here on this plane for a long, long time, that's been aligned with this crazy character. There are a few people who are still like aligned with this, but not enough to matter anymore. And so this energy of the magician is now serving the Empress, the Divine Feminine, and Source's alignment with love. So when your Divine Masculine comes into union with you and he brings the energy of the magician, he will be quickly aligned and educated into co-creation. And that's fun. It's tremendous fun to be in a co-creative space with a Divine Masculine who has become a powerful manifester, and then who is awakened to the dynamic of conscious co-creation with his Divine Feminine in alignment with Source. This is a beautiful reward of doing this crazy. This journey is so hard. This work is so hard. There's nothing harder. Okay? Giving birth to yourself, giving birth to a world, giving birth to a galaxy is much harder than giving birth to a child. Oh, and all the structures that we make here on the planet. We've been practicing for a long time, and now we're ready. So I wanted to share that with you today, because this is what's come through in terms of where the Divine Feminine is on the Sacred Union journey. We have crossed, if you will consider it, an important finish line. And so I would ask and invite each of you to, as you're watching this video, to sit and do a meditation, to sit and with your journal and reach out to the element of air and invite the element of air to enter a conscious co-creative relationship with you. The same with Gaia. Please talk to her and let her know that you're available to work with her consciously and not using magic to manifest, but working with her consciously as a co-creator in alignment with Source. Please reach out to fire as the Queen of Fire. Reach out and speak to the fire element. In the United States, we've had quite a bit of entanglement with fire energy that's been very destructive. And now we have a situation where the fire of purification is burning through one of the country's major power company corporations responsible for death and destruction. Okay, so please work with that energy and invite it, ask it, ask. We are asking, we are not commanding. We are asking, we are inviting, we are making friends. And with the Queen of Water, you have the ability to go in and ask water. I mean, in the United States, again, we're dealing with flooding issues. When we come together as a collective and we work with these elements consciously, and we're in conversation, and we can find out what energies on the planet are changing and how we need to be nimble and be able to respond to that, instead of being entrapped in our own rigid structures that we have been tricked into building for power and money. And that power and money doesn't belong to us, does it? We have very little share in that. Oh boy, what a nut job. What a con job. What a screw job we've been part of here. Wow, I'm so grateful that it's over.
I don't know how to let you know how beautiful that feels to me that it's over. Okay, so find out where you are in this beautiful energy shift today and celebrate, and do take the time to get to know the elementals, not only in your external environment but inside your own body. Because when you are the Empress, you also now are empowered to have healing and beautiful conversations with your own body. And as you're activating your DNA, you're clearing away everything that is not your divine template. And you can do that in a gentle way so that your systems, your body systems, don't have to break down, and you don't have to go through purging that includes feeling really crappy and sick. I've been purging for, I guess you could call it, I've been doing it for decades, but in the last 3 years when it's gotten really intense, I've never had anything more than a minor cold and having to remove an energetic seal that had been embedded in my auric field from birth, that I managed to remove that. So this is where we are today, Divine Feminines. We have really, wow. We have come such a long and beautiful way to be able to be in conscious relationship with this much energy and this much power with a foundation of love. And so again, I want to stress that the shift that happened yesterday was that one powerful man on the planet chose the value of life over the value of a machine. And that's a turning point for the future of the human species. So you may have missed it. I hope you didn't. But if you did, I'm making sure you know about it with this video, and take that, sit quietly with that, and understand the ripple effect of that choice. Choosing the value of life over the value of a machine. Okay? All right, great. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. We do have some other energies that are at work here, and we are using the phoenix and the sea serpent now, and the dragon are now in service of the divine feminine Empress. Okay? So you can have a conscious relationship with this beautiful primordial creator through the air. You can have a conscious relationship with the phoenix of purifying fire, and you can have an incredibly beautiful conscious relationship with the water and with what is the role of the sea serpent in its healthy aspect when it comes out of shadow. How does it serve? How does it serve creation? How does it serve the human collective? So that's it for today. I hope you've enjoyed this. Please leave a comment, like, and share. I wish you the most wonderful opening into the summer season if you live in the northern hemisphere. And if you live in the southern hemisphere and you're coming into your winter season, all of this information still applies. Thank you for watching.